Hello and welcome to the Be Your Own podcast. I'm your host, Samana Duran, and founder of Be Your Own, the global media hub of all things entrepreneurship and career navigation. As you know, this podcast is all about highlighting incredible women out there doing awesome things. Welcome back to the Be Your Own podcast. This is season 2, episode 6. And today I'm joined by Riccarda Zezza, the founder and CEO of Edtech company LifeFeed. Based in Milan, LifeFeed is a social impact edtech company that creates innovative solutions for human capital development, engaging in the corporate world to make a real change happen. Since 2015, it's been transforming life transitions and caregiving activities such as parenthood, caregiving, or going through a crisis into opportunity for both personal and professional growth. By mixing digital and real-life experiences in an augmented learning platform, LifeFeed promotes a continuous learning method that creates work-life synergy, generating well-being, engagement, and professional efficiency. Named by McKinsey Co. as one of the top 10 most innovative companies in the world for employee reskilling, today LifeFeed's augmented training is used by over 15,000 people in 70 different companies. With a predicted market worth close to $252 billion, edtech startups are on the rise all over the world, and it's no surprise that the US features the most total venture capital funding for edtech companies with $8.3 million. The edtech space is so lucrative, with so many opportunities for entrepreneurs, startups, and investors to dive deep into the edtech pool. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this conversation goes today with Riccarda, because as a massive fan of STEM and edtech myself, I'm really keen to learn more about how edtech companies can benefit us and also what the future holds, especially now as parents are really struggling to cope with homeschooling. How are you, Riccarda?
Breathless.
Is that a good sign?
Not exactly. I wouldn't live like that all my life. It's fine for short periods of time, but not always, yeah.
So Riccarda, thank you so much for joining us on the Be Your Own podcast. As I understand, LifeFeed helps to transform people's life transitions into useful soft skills for both companies and businesses through your programs and webinars that you offer. So can we talk about how your second maternity leave in 2012 led you to where you are today? Because you've had a few different names and you've, I guess, like your business model's changed quite a lot, hasn't it?
I'm 48 years old, so I have quite a big professional history on my back. And the first part of my life, I was a manager. I was an employee in big companies. I was working for companies like Microsoft, Nokia, in Italy and abroad. And I was managing projects with a background in communications. Then when I turned 40, I realized that I could do something different, and actually something different was needed from me, I think. And that's why I started becoming an entrepreneur. I don't have parents entrepreneurs, so I'm really a first-hand tester of this experience. I think I had it in a way in my soul that I wanted to be independent and I wanted to have an impact. And that's why the last 8 years have completely changed my life. And I founded the first company, which didn't really work very well. So it was my first startup. I would say I, in a way, failed, which is a very good way to learn. And then in the last 5 years, I have this new company that, is growing. And so I'm really feeling what it means to be an entrepreneur today.
So if we just briefly touch upon Mom, which is now LifeFeed. I say LifeFeed. It's LifeFeed.
Yeah, I pronounce it LifeFeed, but sometimes someone says LifeFeed. LifeFeed is very... So LifeFeed is the new name of Mom. And there is a reason why we gave it a new name, because Mom started for mothers. But then when we started working with fathers and other segments of the population, it sounded strange to have a name that resounded so much maternity. Mm-hmm. And so that's why Mom has become LifeFeed, with the idea of having a word that makes you think about life feeds education. That's what our idea was.
Is that a recent name change and rebrand?
We just did it. We did it at the beginning of 2020. So I can't really tell if the name is making a positive difference at the moment. It was very important for us, for our identity, because we have been looking for a new identity for a while, because the maternity identity was so strong for us, but it was exclusive. So it wasn't as inclusive as we wanted to be. So it's been difficult, and we went through some stages, and then now we are happy with Life It, but we still have to really feel it and feel its impact as a new brand. And it's good because we don't have only parents nowadays, but also caregivers and also what we call transitioners in our target. So we also speak with whoever is going through a transition, which could be even COVID is a transition. So we're not inclusive of every type of population.
And so this is the same digital platform for parenthood.
And it actually is it's more of a training methodology that then is delivered through a platform. So at the back of the platform, there is a new methodology for learning, which is called life-based learning, which simply says that every event in life is a good training ground for soft skills. And it seems very obvious, but it wasn't. People tend to think that they have to create new experiences in order to learn soft skills. And they tend not to see their own already existing experiences as good training grounds for soft skills. That's what happened with my maternity. I became a mother, and I realized my company wasn't seeing this event as a training ground for me, while I was feeling it as a training ground. So there is this methodology, which is called life-based learning. And it's scientifically based. It puts together quite a lot of science from different disciplines. And then it's delivered through this digital platform, which has been essential because it allowed us to get out of the classroom. So the theory reaches people digitally, daily, with micro learning bits. And then the practice is there daily in the real life. So we say it's blended because you get the theory online, you get to also answer questions online, to self-reflect and write a lot online. That's very important because self-consciousness is key for this kind of way of learning. But then you also get to have your real life experience every day offline. And that's also very important, especially today that we are stuck in front of our computers.
One of my favorite questions to ask female founders, because we all know that women are superheroes. How did you take it from concept to reality?
This is a very nice question because if you look backwards, you can see that there is a story. But when the story started, I didn't have a plan. I didn't know it would go like this. It was not my plan. And actually, I started by studying. So when I first had the idea, I thought, I think this could be a good idea. And I want to study. I want to find out if there is some science behind it. If it's true that becoming a mother makes you a better leader and improves your soft skills. So I started with research. And then I started testing the methodology with a partner who is a trainer in classrooms. So we started immediately testing the solution of life-based learning to companies. So we went to the companies that were already customers of this partner of mine, and we started making classrooms with them. And it took a year and a half of this kind of experience to realize that we actually had the methodology in our hands. And then the frustration started because I was like, okay, this is good, this works, but how many people can I reach with classrooms, 20 people at a time? And that's when, at the end of 2015, we realized we could deliver it with the digital platform. We started with the money of our customers. So we started the company with the first contracts. We didn't have to fundraise at the beginning. And at the beginning of the first year, we had 10 customers, big companies of Italy, and we had, let's say, 200,000 euro income for 1 year. Which was okay. I mean, it was okay for survival, but of course it was not okay for growth. And we thought that the market had proved we had the solution. So that's when we started looking for capital. We did one fundraise, which lasted long. It took me almost 2 years to find the capital I was looking for. I was looking for 1.5 million euro. And I finally found the capital outside of Italy. it wasn't easy to have conversations in Italy because we are impact, because we are inclusive. We work on minority subjects such as motherhood, because I don't speak exactly the kind of language that probably the investors world is expecting. And so at the end, I found the best possible investor in Hungary. Can you imagine, from Italy? Impact investors. So investors who are interested in the impact side of the business, but also on the business side. And we could finalize our first capital raise in July 2019. And now the company is growing organically. Today we have 70 companies in Italy and abroad, because our programs are also in English. But we are about to start a Series A, which is, as you know, means we are getting bigger. And so the venture starts again.
Nice. Is your investor male or female?
I have a female investor in Italy. She's the point of contact of the Hungarians, who are men, but impact. So I would say impact can speak also to female founders. But it's a very good question, because I really had the feeling when looking for money that it was very difficult for me to communicate, to speak the same language of the men I had around the table asking questions.
I mean, parenthood is all inclusive. You become a parent, you sign up for parenthood. So the funding aspect wasn't a major challenge for you. Was there any other areas that you really struggled with when you first launched?
I think the point is, yes, parenthood is inclusive, is an inclusive experience, although in Italy not as much as in other countries. But the point is the business perspective on it is still behind. Like even companies might acquire this program not considering it strategic for business, but as a good thing to have, as a good thing for people well-being. They don't see the let's say the competitivity factor of it. The fact that if people find their own resources throughout their own life experiences, they're going to be more productive and more innovative. And at the end of the day, the bottom line will benefit. That's all of a business case, which, yes, we read about, but companies don't completely buy it. And that's the same for investors. They could see that there was a lot of innovation in our idea. They could see that we had a market interest, but they couldn't see how we could actually grow at the speed they had in mind, because we were not seen as enough business critical for that, or enough aggressive also. I also had some feedback on the fact we're not aggressive enough for that kind of investment. So there is still an aggressive angle in investing that requires some dynamics. I don't want those dynamics, so I'm not going to marry them anyway. So I'd rather take one more year to find the right investors than get on board people who would then steer the business model towards a more aggressive bottom line. And so I think that was the point. The point is, I think when you, and this is the point of innovation, when you really create something new, something really innovative, then probably you will have problems in speaking to the existing system, because the existing system has optimized the way of measuring reality as it is, and is not optimized for measuring reality as it can be. And so they tend to look for the same things in the same places. And when you come out with your yellow boots and your smile and your kindness, probably you're not exactly seen as what they're used to see.
So we know that the edtech space is predicted to be worth 252 billion, and there are so many startups on the rise all over the globe. And from your standpoint, you've developed this business model, you've set clear goals, you're fully aligned with them, and you knew the potential. You understand your market, and you've demonstrated how it works at LifeFeed. Why do you think so many other edtech startups fail? And why do you think founders just take any offer that comes? Is it because the opportunities for investment are really scarce?
Okay, I understand why we do it, and I would say we, because in a way I didn't have really the choice, and I don't know what I would have done if I had the choice. So if I really had the opportunity to get the wrong people on board, I'm not 100% sure I would have had the guts to say no. And I'm saying this because I want to be very concrete. Like at the moment, I'm thinking of the next capital raise. And I'm at the same time an entrepreneur who's looking for resources for her company to grow, and a person who has in mind what else I need beyond capital. And we know how the crisis is hitting hard on the market, although Edtech is seen as going to grow after this, and I see why. But still, what if someone comes with the money I need, quick and dirty, to just grow the company, and he doesn't fit my idea of the ideal partner? Then in this situation, I'm not 100% sure I would be so clear on my orientation. That's why I'm saying this, because throughout the year and a half, none of the people who were not adapt for us came saying, I want to get in. And so it was easier for me to say, okay, I'll go, at the end I will reach the right ones. And this is also interesting. I know it might sound confused, but the point is, I think that in this sense, minorities, which I consider myself to be, because I am a minority in a way that I'm pretty new to this environment, and mothers, 48-year-old mother looking for investments is not that common. Minorities have, let's say, the chance to keep on innovating because they get less opportunities, and the opportunities which come to us, some are very often are naturally already better for us because they come looking for us instead of the other way around. So this is good about innovation. You can attract the right resources because you look different. Well, in the technology arena, generally speaking, that minority effect, is already finished, because I think there are parameters and numbers and behaviors that are in a way standardized already. So if you fit into them, you're going to attract capital, not necessarily the right one. And when you attract the wrong capital, it's very difficult to say no.
Okay, so what would you like to see change for women in tech then?
Okay, for women.
Yeah.
The point is, I think that it's very difficult to look for innovation by using the same old glasses that we use for everything else. So I think that we can really innovate the technology space as far as we are allowed to be different. I think this also relates to the way you call it's your initiative's name, no? Be Your Own.
Yes.
So the point is, to be your own, you must be allowed to say different things and not sound too weird. Not to answer the usual questions, but ask different questions. So the point is not just in the answers, it's in the questions. So probably if we really want to innovate, and I think we have the duty as women to really bring innovation to the society and the economy. I have to tell you, we have, it's impressive how we actually stick to the idea we had at the beginning. Seemed a bit crazy probably and visionary. But if we go back in those files, 5-year-old files, we are still that in a way. And I think I see growth, but because I see the need of a different way of framing work and life is so huge, and the alternative is so unsustainable that we have to grow, because we have to make sure that our impact grows with us. And I chose to go through economy because I think economy is a very effective way to grow the impact. And what I'm really being careful about, and that's probably the most challenging thing we have on the table now, and you can ask me back in 3 years if I manage this thing, is not to let the market steer our objective. Because being on the market is a good way to be sustainable, is a good way to be constantly under test, is a good way to collect data and to involve people, because companies are giving us what we want, which is people to speak to, people to activate. But at the same time, the market tends to bring you where its needs, its objectives are, and the needs of the market are one step behind where we want to be. So if we end up serving the market, we will be losing sight on the real objective that we have, which is about changing what the market wants. So this is the difficult balance. And the more you get resources from the market and from the investors, the more you run the risk of having to respond to to traditional needs and lose the innovative strength that you have. So my biggest worry at the moment is make sure that we keep on having in mind a change that we want to make. Otherwise, we will become like every other company. And there is no reason for having one more company like the others. There are so many already doing a lot of work, so that wouldn't give us the reason to be.
If we look at other edtech companies such as Open Classrooms, Linguist, PTOP, Teacherly, Ironhack, these are all using tech to reinvent education. How are you kind of staying ahead of the game and competing with these? As my final question.
We do look at them, especially we look at competitors for the same budget, as we don't have direct competitors on the same business model. There is no other company in the world that I know that use life-based learning to transform life events into soft skills. Mm-hmm. So in this, we're pretty unique still. But we have a lot of competitors who actually sell training solutions to companies or well-being solutions to companies. We're also starting to work very much on data, so data analytics, because what people tells us through our programs is incredibly rich. There is so much about them, so much we can do to we say, unveil the inner wonder of people. So make sure that companies actually do know what they have and what they could use better. And in the last year, we pivoted a lot, although we kept keeping the eye on the ball. We launched a new program about going through the pandemia. So how going through a pandemia is itself a transition, and how you can develop soft skills thanks to this transition. How can self-reflection help you get through it? And so it's the same approach we have with mothers and fathers and caregivers. We have it with anyone who feels like they can get resources out of this transition. And also we are now more ready, technologically speaking, to launch streams or life-based trainings that address specific soft skills. So basically, whatever is the soft skill you want to train, there is no better way for doing it than using life events. And by blending technology and real life, we can provide streams that can address any need of soft skill development, from communication to crisis management to emotional intelligence and leadership and so on. And the kind of result that you have with this kind of experiences is not only that people have better skills, but people also feel better because they feel stronger by just knowing better who they are, by knowing better how many dimensions they have, and how this fact is not generating a conflict, but a synergy inside themselves. And finally, they also, I think that we are, in a way, starting a new generation of caring skills, caring leadership, caring relationships. So this kind of approach, this way of looking at life and work together, can grow the caring factor that we want to bring to the economy. And that's the ultimate objective we have, is to augment the level of caring inside the economy and the society.
It's been great having you today on the Be Your Own podcast, Riccarda. Thank you so much for giving up your time today. It's really interesting to see what the future of EdTech holds for us and our entire society, and the way it's going to impact our life. I wish you all the best. Let's stay in touch, because I'm excited to see what the future holds for Live Feed.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Samana. Really pleasure. And we'll be in touch. Yes.
Thank you so much for listening. Please let us know what you think of the show. Don't forget, you can find us on both Instagram and Twitter at BEYOUROWN UK. Our email address is beyourown@beyourown.org. So make use of it and drop us an email with anything that you want to know. If you fancy reading pretty much all of the career navigation stuff we talk about here on the podcast, then head over to beyourown.org for exclusive content, interviews, tools and resources. And lastly, if you love the show, subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast, either on Stitcher, iTunes or Spotify. And that's it from me. See you next time.